get here, it's recording. All right, welcome everybody. I am so excited that we have Jeanette with us today because I know we are going to learn so much from her. Why don't we go around and have everybody introduce themselves? Seem to have lost Danessa. Hopefully she's coming back. Jen, why don't you go first?
Jen Walker, parent at MJDS and work for the JCC at Gunamy.
Thank you. Molly Beth.
Sorry, Molly Beth Kranitz. I am a teacher at Gunamy and a parent of an 8th grader and 2nd grader at MJDS.
Welcome. Diane, she disappeared. Uh-oh.
No, I'm right here.
All right.
I'm trying to feed my dogs. I am a Milwaukee Public School special ed teacher at religious school at Congregation Beth Israel, and I work at Camp Interlochen, and I'm a parent of 3, almost about to be alumni of 3 MJDS kids versus 2. I have 6 days left or whatever it is.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. And then sadly.
And I'm CP Altman Schaefer, and I work at CJL. It's going to be, believe it or not, guys, I'm going to be 5 years at CJL in August. Can you believe I've been gone
Wow.
for so long?
No, that's crazy.
All right, Jeanette, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and take it away. Hopefully, some of the people who went off are going to come back.
Okay, perfect. Hi guys. Well, I wasn't sure who would join me tonight, so obviously you guys, I know all of you, which is awesome, and I don't need to explain so much of what I do at MJDS, but
you know what, Jeanette, do it anyway because I'm recording it, so some people watching won't know you.
So he asked me to do a talk about, the balance of working at home, working remotely, being in education. And I think when I received the email to, do this talk, I started laughing because I was trying to Zoom with the kid and it wasn't working and my dog needed me and my kid needed me and dinner was burning. And I was laughing like, she wants me to talk about, how do you balance all this? And then, we talked about it and I thought, you know what, like, this is exactly why I want to talk about it, because not only am I a social worker, but I'm also a parent and I have a pet and I'm in the middle of this with all of you guys. So it just makes it real. So yes, I'm the social worker at the Milwaukee Jewish Day School. How many years? I've been there since 2013. I have been a social worker for, over 20 years. I have a master's degree from Madison and my background is in child welfare, but ended up as a school social worker and just realized that was the best fit for me. So, the title, can you still be a superhero? I came up with that because I was thinking, I say this a lot to people as a social worker in the school system, that I have more respect for educators, for teachers, than kind of anyone else in this world. Just the amount of work that you all do. The demands are so hard in the classroom, in a school setting, politics, parent, everything. But now you have been asked to, do all of this outside of school and balance life and deal with the stress of it and wear the million hats that we all wear. So I can really connect with all the stuff I'm talking about. And, when I did research and looked online and spent time preparing this, the direction it took me wasn't just, how do you balance? And we'll talk about that, practical tips. I mean, listen, we're a week away, at least MJDS, from being out for the summer. And so we've been living this for a couple of months. So I will absolutely go through the practical tips of balance, but really this presentation kind of led me more towards like, how do we take care of ourselves? Stress, managing it, how to deal with not being perfect, how do you balance it all? So, so that's a quick intro. In terms of the structure of the meeting, I am going to share my screen in a minute. I did put together, and this was my first time using Google Slides. This is my first time using a lot of things over the last few months. So this as I can imagine for you guys as well. So I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you have questions, if you can't hear something. The chat function obviously is a really good way to do that. You can just, send a message through chat, and please interrupt me at any time also with questions. I mean, again, I like that this is a smaller group, and I know at least the people I can see on the screen, but I know all of you. Just feel free to ask anything. So really quick before I share my screen, we went remote. I don't even know exactly the date. What was it? March
16th. March 16th, 3/16. I know it by heart.
Good. So, March 16th, we went remote. And so
Yep.
as the social worker at the day school, we have 3-year-olds to 14-year-olds. And my role at the school, I have a lot of different roles. One of the things I do is see kids weekly, like a therapist would outside of school. And so, quickly trying to figure out how can I continue to support the kids I already was supporting in the school setting, with all the sort of added on kids and parents that I've supported since that time with, issues that they've been struggling with. And, to begin all of this and figuring out Zoom, because I've never used Zoom before. And also, how do you connect with kids when a lot of times when they come to talk to me, they talk to me in a private setting. I find a lot of times now that parents, will sort of at the beginning, we're jumping in the middle of my sessions, asking questions or telling me they listen to them, which is fine, but just a lot of different challenges that I didn't know how to prepare for, which I can imagine you guys have as well. Also, I don't know about any of you, but using Zoom, or Google Hangout, this stuff all day, there's been a couple days where I legitimately felt like I had motion sickness at the end of the day. From just the kids, showing me underneath their beds, and the cameras are all over the place and they're walking around their rooms and they're talking to me. But from that to also just staring at the screen and being on a screen all day, there's been a few days where I've crawled into bed and because I'm dizzy and nauseous and can't function. So anyways, I'm living this with you guys, and it's just it's a lot to balance. I know that I had introductions of everyone. I see that someone else is on. The person that just came on, is it possible to tell me your name and what you teach or what grade you work with?
We had 2 join. Carrie, go ahead.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Carrie Barberkoff. I am the education director at Congregation Emmanuel of Waukesha.
Okay.
And I am also Rabbi Kalmar's assistant at Anshe Sfar Kilat Torah. And I think you and I might have met when I was a sub at MJDS.
Yes. Hi. You do look familiar.
And Rachel?
Yeah, I'm Rachel Mexican, and I'm teaching in the J. Now I took off till September, and I'm teaching Hebrew at Emmanuel. I'm the Hebrew resource coordinator, and this topic is very important, especially those days. So thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm going to share my screen and let's hope this all works. Let me, hold on one second. Okay. We are loading. Let me just make sure you can all, is everyone good? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. You don't need to see my, well, those are my cute superheroes, which are you guys? Okay, so just to start with, there's a lot, if you Google, teacher stress and balance of work and home and how are we all doing it, there's already lots of stuff online about it. I like to put quotes on during presentations. So someone said, actually, Kathleen Mink, who's the executive director of the National Association of School Psychologists, said, being asked to suddenly do something they're not skilled in, coping with the worry about coronavirus in their own lives, feeling they're not doing enough for kids and parents, plus their fears about next fall and how their students and families could really be suffering mentally and financially, then all that piles up to an amazing amount of stress. So I just felt like that really pretty much sums it up. I mean, there's been so many challenges that I have gone through that I know that you guys have as well. This, you know, March 16th, this complete quick jump to teaching remotely. You know, I know some people started talking about it the week before, but it was a very quick jump. Learning all the new ways to teach kids using Zoom and other platforms, or teach adults, you know, unfamiliar technology, reinventing lessons and grading, demands from administration, coworkers, families, which of course we're going to get more into, kids that aren't showing up or that are struggling. I've heard that a lot from MJDS teachers at different times. You know, wait, this kid wasn't on a Zoom call. Can you follow up? What's going on with them? Lack of boundaries between personal space, workspace, and home. I'm guessing that everyone on this can connect with that. Our own family's needs, and you know, obviously we're talking in June and we're almost done with the school year, but I don't think anyone's perfected any of this yet. I think it's still a work in progress for all of us. So, and I'm not going to read all this, by the way. I have multiple videos and I'm going to ask you guys to speak in a minute, because I don't think you want to just hear me talk for an hour. You know, teaching through a pandemic. There's actually already some interesting information online about it. But again, you guys can connect with all this. Expect a lot of error, you know, trial and a lot of error. You know, giving yourself time and permission to figure this out. Reducing workload for your students and for yourself. I just think we're all overachievers. That's why we're in education. And that's a hard thing to do for a lot of people. Staying connected with other educators for support, which is part of why I love that we're doing this today. Everyone thinks they can't before they can. To be honest, again, when I was asked to do this presentation, I haven't used Google Slides before. I haven't done a Zoom presentation. So I thought at first, how can I do this? Well, I can do it, and I'm doing it. And again, we talked about some of the challenges that your kids might have. And I know that we work, it sounds like we have MPS, multiple people in MPS and in congregations and with adults and with kids, but understanding that the people we're working with may have other challenges going on, or more severe challenges, no internet, no computer, no support at home. And that makes our job even more challenging. So just a quick share out, and you guys can unmute unless it's loud there and you just want to unmute when each of you talks. I would love to hear from you a couple of examples before we move on of some challenges you've experienced while working from home. And I wrote in here remote fails. At MJDS, we call them first attempt in learning. So just a couple examples of challenges that you've experienced so far, and that'll help me understand where we're all coming from.
Jeanette, I can go if that's okay.
Yep, perfect.
I would say my biggest challenge, sorry, I'm peeling potatoes at the same time. I would say that my biggest challenge, I think, and you'll understand, is definitely having to help Tali with the Zooms. I mean, Maddie is obviously so much older and really took to it right away.
Right.
And I really don't need to check in on her too much. I mean, I check just to see how she's doing, but with Tali, it's almost like I have to kind of handhold her through each thing, through the schedule. So I've been trying, so we learned as we went that we really needed Tali to have a visual schedule for every day. So in the beginning, every morning I sit down and I look at, Vera Dowling's thing on the sheet online and look what Zoom she has and put everything into a list, so that if I do have to leave for a couple hours to go into Gonomy, or if I am sitting on a Zoom or something, she has the ability to take on that kind of responsibility and give her a little bit of, independence too. But it took some time in those first few weeks. It's been really hard.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Rafael, you want to go next? Oh, you have to unmute. Oh, here. There we go.
So I do with my class Zoom almost once a week, and with the parents alone with a social worker every other week. And it helps me and helps them to stay connected to each other. I don't know how much is enough, and there's not so much guidance. So I'm doing my best, and I hope it's enough for the parents and for the kids.
Yeah, it's more than enough, but I thank you for being honest about that. Jen, can you give an example of what's been challenging?
In the beginning when we first started, I just didn't know how Bree would do because concentration. So, and I was babysitting, so she came with me the first week, but then honestly, she really took well to it. We've had a couple challenges with a couple different classes, but otherwise she's been really thriving with it, and I've been okay. But it's like if I have to leave for an hour or two or longer, you know, I mean, I'm close, but I never knew whether she was getting it done or not.
Yeah, that's a consistent challenge I've heard from so many parents depending on the age of their kids. Thank you. Carrie?
So I think for me, it's been, this is really just brought to the forefront my challenge of balancing. I have 2 jobs, and balancing those 2 jobs with also my personal life, obviously. But also, my school is very small, and I have 3 staff, and just trying to figure out what the expectation should have been or should be and can be for the 3 teachers, what my role is in supporting them, and how much I should have them do versus me doing for them. And also just how much I should be providing for my students and for my parents. I really just tried to like reach out to all of my families, and just have them be there, have me be there for them, and really just seeing how we can keep doing being Jewish.
Right.
When, you know, our synagogues are closed, and
Right.
so.
Yeah, thank you. That's a different level of a challenge as well. Thank you. Diane, share.
My challenge is not my own children as much as my students, and MPS is
Yeah.
making sure I can fit them in my schedule and fit it all in. Like, I have 2 parents that are working parents, so I actually work until almost 5 o'clock now every day, when my school day really should be done at a quote unquote the norm 2:40. But I'm also starting, instead of 7:30, I'm starting at 8. So I start a half an hour later, but I'm going a lot later. And so like my principal's giving me permission, you know, if you need to take a break in the middle of the day. And like today I went to the dentist office, you know, or something like that. So, but it's finding the balance of making sure I fit all my students. And there are some I really have never connected with the entire time. Like the parents will blow me off. I'll email with them and they're like, oh yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. And then they come on and then they have no Wi-Fi, or their Wi-Fi lasts for a minute. I see the daughter for 2 minutes and then that's it. And I haven't seen her again since. Or another one's like, yeah, I need to go pick up the Chromebook, and they never pick up the Chromebook from the school. And I even had the assistant principal call several times. I called, the reg ed teacher called, you know, it's things like that. And then there's others that are so dedicated, and like one parent called this principal the other day to say thank you for all my hard work, because I'd been really diligent with this one family, and he's actually reading now, and it's amazing. So I don't think he would have been as far reading if we had been in school because of his behavior. But because he's getting this one-on-one support from me and his grandmother's been working her butt off. So that's a success story. But it's the challenge is just trying to support these families and meet their needs.
Right. Very different challenge.
Yes.
Zippy, you said there was one other, I don't see if she reconnected or not.
No, I think you got everybody.
Okay. Zippy, do you want to share? Is there anything like the balance for
Yeah,
you?
I'm worried about 2 weeks from now when school is done.
Yeah.
I'm working, my husband's working, Yoni's got a job all summer. I don't know what Golan is going to do. he will be very happy to sit in front of a computer all day, but I don't think that's a healthy thing to do. And it's very hard when I have 7 or 8 Zooms in a day to get away enough to be making sure he's doing stuff. He's done great about doing all our schoolwork. I'm just worried about what will happen next.
Right. And I think that, thank you. And thank you guys, because actually you didn't plan it, but you all shared different things that have been challenging. And I think we could even add 10 more onto this list, but it's everything from, you know, meeting families' needs that we can't connect with to, you know, struggling to get our kids to do what they need. And, you know, are we doing enough? And how do we keep, how are we sure we're doing enough? And, you know, and everything else. So I'm going back to sharing my screen here. Hold on a second. Then you don't have to just, oh, that's my son. There we go. So just a couple other things on the sort of work-life balance. And again, we're going to hit a different thing that we're going to have to balance, and Sippy mentioned it, and it's something I'm thinking about in my own home, which is, even though it's been such a challenge to figure this all out with teaching, and for those of us that have kids, and just the balance of multiple jobs and all the things you guys are talking about, also summer and sort of the loss of structure, and you know, things are closed that typically our kids would participate in, and how to balance that. But you know, I'm not going to go word for word through all of these things, but just I wanted to make sure we had it on here for the presentation. You know, finding a routine, and it sounds like Diane gave an example, like maybe she's having to work later than normal. Me, for example, I work part-time at MJDS, but just given the need and the support, I've essentially been working full-time. So it's, you know, having a routine, however big or small, we have to find one. Routine's really important. You know, a schedule for your workday is so important, because if you're not careful, you'll be dipping in and out of work 24/7. I think that's hard for anyone in the education field anyways, regardless of COVID-19 and working from home. But just really being careful and finding a way to turn off, like not be connected. And, you know, given I've seen this, given that, you know, we all went remote, and how do we talk to administrators, to each other, to our coworkers? It's really hard to not be answering calls at night or responding to parents at night. But it's important for our balance. Schedule something to signal the end of your workday, and I wrote time outside to make a distinction between work and play. I mean, I just think, you know, normally we get up, unless you work from home, you get up, you get dressed, you have a routine, you grab your coffee, you whatever, make breakfast, get your kids off to school, drive them to school, take them with you, whatever, and you go to work. So that's really important for our mental health and our physical health, to have these kind of routines. Again, if you have something to look forward to in the evening, you're much more likely to switch off your computer at a decent time. Communicating expectations to your family, and I'm sure you've all had to do this. Like when I have a Zoom meeting, these are the rules, right? I can't be talking to you, I can't be doing this, or I can be doing this. You know, and what I wrote in here, what works for me might not work for you. Everyone has to experiment what works best for them. Because here's the thing that I know, and I always tell this, it's not a story, but you know, when you're on an airplane and they say, you know, put your oxygen mask on first, I always wondered when I was a kid, I was thinking, why are they telling the parents to put their oxygen masks on first? And it's really the same thing here for us as educators. And if some of us are parents, all of us are parents, we have to take care of ourselves to be able to take care of other people. So the last thing in here is accept the imbalance sometimes. And I know that that's really hard. But accepting it's going to be, we're not going to always be in balance. We're not always going to have the routine. We're not always going to have the best day, but sort of accepting it and leaning into it is important. So before I turn this video on, actually Sippy, this was great because she said she had a hard day and then went home and was like, we have to watch something funny, or we have to watch something to distract me. So I think humor is a really, really important thing. It's something I need in my life, and I do the same. Like, that was a stressful day. We need to watch something that is just going to get my mind off of it. But when doing some research on it, like laughter actually has health benefits. It relaxes your whole body. It boosts your immune system. It triggers the release of endorphins, your natural feel-good chemicals. It protects your heart, actually. Also, the research shows it burns calories. I'm not sure. It said it's not a replacement for going to the gym, but one study found that laughing for 10 to 15 minutes a day can burn about 40 calories. So that was something I did not know. Obviously, laughter lightens anger's heavy load. I mean, it helps with other emotions. There was a study in Norway that found that people with a strong sense of humor outlived those who didn't laugh as much. So some interesting research out there on laughter. It definitely helps with mental health as well. You know, it stops, you know, you can't feel anxious, angry, or sad while you're laughing. It helps you relax and recharge. It shifts perspectives. It gives you a different way to look at something, you know, and it draws you closer. There's social benefits. It makes you feel connected. You can laugh with people. I know that feeling connected during this strange time has been really helpful for a lot of people. And so there's so many good videos out there that sort of make us laugh about the imbalance of things right now, but this was one that I really enjoyed, and I hope that you guys do as well.
Everybody, I just wanted to leave you a quick video in case you wanted to take on homeschool by yourself at any point.
Your student has been assigned an individual password for logging into each of their assigned accounts for FreeDWorks, Scholastic, WebEx, Zern.
And we have 14 different Wi-Fis, and we know our neighbor's password into his Wi-Fi is panties. When ours is out, we got to go to his.
Mathletics, Grammaropolis, ABC.
Eleanor, if you want to get on your Zoom, your name is Viper. Mondays, it's at 8:11. On Tuesdays, it's at 4:13. And Saturdays, it's at 1 a.m.
Okay, another Zoom. I hope that Jeffrey kid doesn't tap on his sister's foot again.
We're not muted. Did you just toot?
No.
Oh my god!
I appreciate everyone jumping on today and doing the call.
What?
And
Oh
so
my gosh, I just
what was the client's response? Were they pleased or?
yes.
Julia is planting vegetables in a rectangular garden. Use the distributive property to decompose the factor 12 into a sum.
PE time. Go, run. Put the iPad down.
Email address for you, Finn, with the 17826@14.com/school. Eleanor, same as you. 17825/941.com/ampersand941.com/school. Got it? Okay, cool. Why can't I just go 12 times 9? Oh, I'm sweaty. Sweaty.
You've been on the iPad for a while. Don't you feel like you should watch a movie or TV or something?
At the bottom, our marriage counseling Zooms are on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Khan Academy and also the district site.
Hi. I just want to tell you that I really am so grateful for everything you've ever done. I regret saying I have any thoughts that like teachers have a cush job because you guys get the summers off, because really, I mean, I've got 2 students right now and they're so mean. You're a big mean room. So dirty in here. And I don't know how you do it. I wanted to put in my 2 weeks, day 1, and here you are, just year after year, being great. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I love you. I really love you.
Okay. Hi. I don't know if I hope that made you laugh. I feel like that was one of my favorite videos that I've seen online to sort of show, you know, from the teacher perspective, the parent perspective. So Uncertainty. There's so much uncertainty right now that we're all dealing with. And actually, before I jump to discussing some of this, there was a study already done, because somehow people can already do studies in the midst of all this in the last few months. Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, along with Collaboration for Social, Emotional, and Academic Learning, already surveyed over 5,000 educators, and trying to assess how they're feeling, how they're dealing with all of this. And the 5 most mentioned feelings were anxiety, feeling anxious, fearful, worried, overwhelmed, and sad. It's interesting because in 2017, the similar group did a study, and the educators felt frustrated, overwhelmed, stressed, tired, and happy. So, it's other than happy, it's interesting when I was thinking about both of those studies, because, we, oops, I don't know, hopefully that didn't start. Sorry, I'm going back a screen. Here we go. Hold on. Because educators are already stressed. It's a stressful business to be in. It's hard to meet everyone's needs. It's hard to meet students' needs and parents' needs and administrators' needs and our own needs. But now we quickly had to figure out how to do it at home. So it's bringing a lot of emotions. And uncertainty is a tricky thing. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now. A lot of uncertainty. So uncertainty can trigger, it's called a fear response. And I'm going to show a video on that in a minute to understand a little bit like the brain science behind that. But obviously I listed some of our current uncertainties, and I'm sure you guys can add to this. Our own health, our loved ones, our jobs, the balance of work and home, loss of our normal routine, loss of the ways we typically take care of ourselves, socializing, going to the gym, going out to eat. Things are opening. I added these on over the last couple of weeks. Things are opening up, but is it safe to go anywhere? And why are people going places? What's ahead for our jobs in the fall? And really, we could list 100 more. Sippy said, what about the summer? Like, what's summer going to look like? How are we going to balance all of this? So there's a lot of uncertainty. And what does uncertainty do for us physiologically? Hold on, next screen, sorry. So you guys have heard of fight, flight, or freeze. And so so when you feel threatened and afraid, the amygdala automatically activates this fight or flight response by sending out signals to release stress hormones that prepare your body to fight or run away. This response is triggered by emotions like fear, anxiety, aggression, anger. Feelings of helplessness and powerlessness can be traumatic and even activate past trauma. When we are in an activated trauma state, our body and mind are preparing to keep us safe with this response. So I'm going to show you guys a video on it in a minute, but a lot of stuff that I've read and researched, the coronavirus and all this uncertainty has activated this for people. And, as we're trying to balance work and home and all of this, we need to really be aware of what's happening in our bodies. And sorry to go clinical, I just think it's such an important piece of all of this. So I'm going to share this video, and I looked through so many, and I thought this was a really good explanation. She has a lot of very good videos that I hope you guys can go back and watch on YouTube, because she goes into lots of different techniques, and this is more of an explanation, but I hope that you find this helpful.
Have you ever wondered, why do my hands get all cold and sweaty when I'm nervous? Or why does my stomach get all tight when I'm talking to my boss? Well, today we're going to talk about our body and brain's natural reaction to danger. It's called the fight, flight, or freeze response. Now, our bodies have developed this amazing reaction to help keep us safe. For thousands of years, humans' biggest challenge was survival. They had to worry about wild animals and heights, warring tribes, and other dangers. So the body developed this instinctual way to keep us safe. Now, unfortunately, in current day, we don't have nearly as many of these real and immediate dangers. So a lot of times this reaction just makes us uncomfortable. When faced with a real and immediate danger, like a tiger, our instincts take over. We have three main reactions: fight, run away, or freeze. Now, these come naturally. We don't have to think about it. These reactions actually turn off the thinking part of our brain. It's kind of like in Star Trek when the captain says, "All power to shields," and they lower the lights on the bridge. Yes, I am a nerd. Now, the front part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, that's the part that does thinking, words, planning, that all gets mostly shut down. And the back part of our brain, which is reactive and instinctive, gets amped up. This can be really helpful if you're facing a tiger, because if you're facing a tiger and you take time to plan out what your next move is, you're most likely to be eaten. However, this is not helpful if your perceived danger is a public speech and the front part of your brain turns off, or you're asking out a date and all of a sudden you can't make words come out of your mouth. That's when it becomes a real pain. Our body does other things to try and keep us safe. It sends extra blood to the big muscles, which takes the blood flow away from our extremities, like our hands and feet. So that's where the phrase cold feet comes from. It makes us start to sweat. So our hands will often get cold and sweaty, or cold and clammy. It turns on the adrenaline glands. Those start pumping out. This gives us energy for a quick burst to either run away or punch someone. But later on, that adrenaline gives us the shakes. It turns off our digestive system because we don't really need to be digesting that hamburger when we're running away from a tiger. However, when our digestive system turns off, that can cause all sorts of problems. A decreased appetite, a tight feeling in the stomach, dry mouth, and even people could get the runs or wet their pants. Obviously, these are all outcomes that we don't really want. The fight, flight, freeze response also tightens the muscles. It heightens some senses, like vision gets pinpointed, creating tunnel vision. Our breathing rate gets shorter and shallower, so we're breathing faster, but not deeper. And our heart rate goes up. The fight, flight, freeze response also temporarily turns off the immune system. Now, that's also a good thing because, again, it's all power to shields. We're putting all power to keeping ourselves alive. But if the fight, flight, freeze response is turned on all the time, then our immune system is turned off much of the time. And that's why people who are always stressed out are often getting sick. Now, with the freeze response, we sometimes see a few different things than the fight or flight response. More frequently, we'll see people feeling numb, people shrinking, hiding, or complying, just going along with what the person or the thing in power seems to be wanting. Now, this response, this fight, flight, freeze response, is really helpful, could be helpful in situations where there's real and immediate danger. And it's meant to work in short bursts. The problem that happens is when we are constantly having this reaction to things that aren't real dangers. They're just perceived threats, like a boss asking to talk with us or a public speaking event. When we are constantly in the fight, flight, freeze response, then our body gets trapped in this elevated state for a long period of time. This leads to exhaustion, insomnia, muscle tension, digestive problems, and frequent illnesses. In an upcoming video, we are going to teach you how to train your mind and body to respond differently to threats, to resolve anxiety, and to train your nervous system to return to calm quickly. For now,
I'm going to pause it there. She talks a little bit more, but I thought she gave a very good explanation of what's happening, and I want us all to realize that this, just all the emotions and everything we've been through, this is a serious reaction that I think many people have experienced. So what do you do about it? There's multiple different things to do. First of all, how to help calm this: mindfulness, meditation, grounding activities. I listed here, and again, we'll share this off. The most common, there are so many, meditation apps, that are focused on mindfulness, grounding videos. And so these are ways to sort of get out of the thoughts, the anxiety, the fear, all of that, and calm our systems. it's not easy. I'll tell you, I tried the first time I tried meditation, I could not handle how the person was snoring next to me. I mean, it was so challenging for me to close my brain off. And when I think about all that we manage and you guys manage as teachers and parents, and, you know, you have pets, you have multiple jobs, all of that stuff, it's really hard to turn things off. So again, you'll get this information when we share this out, but I wanted to talk to you again, a little clinical, sorry, about some cognitive tools that could be helpful in sort of managing the stress of everything right now. So a quote, Marcus Aurelius, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find your strength." And so I just wanted to share a few things in terms of tools that you guys can use. And I always talk to kids about having tools in their toolbox, and the young kids love that idea. Like, you carry around your toolbox and in there you have tools to cope with stress, to cope with anxiety. And sometimes I even have kids create them. So they bring them in a bag to school, things that help calm them, that help calm their mind. So some of these are higher level stuff, but just, you know, I felt like you guys were capable. I mean, practicing gratitude, that's not higher level. That's something we're talking about with all of our kids. You know, practicing gratitude helps your mind get out of all the worry and stress of everything we're trying to balance. Planning your information diet. I don't know about you guys, but I, you know, Googled 100 different things when this all started in March, and I had to really figure out how often I could turn on CNN or how often I could listen to something. And you need to decide that too. What source, how often. Your spheres of influence, which, like, you can't stop hypothetical worry, but, you know, the what if thoughts are really challenging. So if you're in your brain thinking, well, what if this, what if we don't go back to school? What if we do go back to school? What if someone I know gets sick? And if you get stuck in the what if, that can be really challenging. What is within my control and what is out of my control? Write it down. It is not in our control whether schools are open August 25th or whatever day we're supposed to go back. What is in our control is what we make for dinner, or what, you know, how we keep our family safe, different things like that. Thought challenging. And so thought challenging, and there's a whole process to it. It's called the think technique, which is, you know, and I don't know, I'm assuming it's the case, but that we all get caught up in the worry and the thoughts, and that consumes us. So the think, really quick, I won't go through all the details. The T is true. Is this thought 100% true? The H, helpful. Is paying attention to this thought actually helpful to me? I, inspiring. Does this thought inspire me, or does it have the opposite effect? N, is it necessary? Like, is it important for me to focus on this thought? And then K, kind. Is this thought kind? If not, what would be a kinder thought? And then finally, distraction activities. And I'm assuming you guys are all doing this, and we're seeing people online do this, which is find things to distract yourself from the worry and the fears. You know, gardening, watching, you know, comedy, artwork, playing with your kids, whatever, just finding things that are distracting. This is linked on here. This is from actually some of the stuff very specifically. There's already a coronavirus anxiety workbook, if you can imagine. It already exists, but there were really, really good things in there that I use with kids when dealing with, or adults, when dealing with anxiety anyway. So I just recommend that. You know, Sippy and I talked about this a little bit in an email, this sort of, you know, you don't have to be perfect to be kind to yourself. And I know that I'm doing a lot of talking here, and in a minute I want to hear from you guys, sorry. I know we're at 10 to 6. Do we have time to watch a few more minutes of the video? Is it okay if we go a couple minutes, okay? This is really, really important. Really important. So yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid, but that doesn't change the truth that I am also brave and worthy of love and belonging. I don't know if any of you have read any of Brene Brown's stuff yet. I've linked it at the end on resources, on my resource page. Please read her books. It's really important for us as educators and moms and sisters and aunts and everything that we are. I have found it very challenging, and maybe you guys have too, and we will hear about it in a minute, that, you know, you look at social media and you see, I mean, the first week people had, you know, their perfect schedules and the perfect meals and everything that they're doing. I think we have to work really hard at to stop comparing ourselves to other people. You are doing the best you can in this situation you've absolutely never been in. You don't have to be perfect. What is perfect anyways? Speak to yourself. This is such a big one. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend struggling. I find that a lot of the stress we put on ourselves comes, I mean, we have stress in the world and so much right now, but from ourselves, and we speak to ourselves in such a bad way that it negatively affects how we're functioning. Surround yourself with people that love you and support you. Obviously that's an obvious one, I think. And then model for your kids on accepting imperfection. Like, your Zoom call goes bad, you try to teach a lesson and the kid didn't show up, everyone shouted out, like the early video I showed you guys, like all the imperfections of this current world we're in and what's ahead, like lean into it and accept it. So I found this video on being kind to yourself that I really liked, and I hope you guys can bear with me for a few more minutes before we go into breakout rooms and talk to each other.
I don't know anyone who wouldn't benefit from more self-compassion. It makes me nervous, it feels uncomfortable, but I can see how it can be potentially life-changing. Step number 1, think of a situation in your life that is difficult and causing you stress. Okay. Number 2, call the situation to mind and see if you can actually feel the stress, emotional discomfort in your body. Yeah, I can definitely feel it in my neck and shoulders. I know that's where I carry a lot of my anxiety. Okay, step number 3, say to yourself, this is a moment of suffering. This acknowledgement is a form of mindfulness, of simply noticing what's going on for you emotionally in the present moment without judging that experience as good or bad. You can say to yourself, this hurts or this is stress. Use whatever statement feels most natural to you. So, this sucks. How many more days left of this do I have? So just saying this is stress or this sucks, but that's okay. Those are statements that feel natural to me. Step 4, say to yourself, suffering is a part of life. This is a recognition of your common humanity with others, that all people have trying experiences, and these experiences give you something in common with the rest of humanity. Other options include other people feel this way, I'm not alone, or we all struggle in our lives. I think the I'm not alone statement really resonates with me. I think that a lot of other active duty military psychiatrists probably have somewhat of a similar sentiment. Just that knowledge that you're not alone really, really helps. Number 5, put your hands over your heart. Feel the warmth of your hands and the gentle touch of your chest and say, may I be kind to myself. This is a way to express self-kindness. You can also consider whether there is another specific phrase that would speak to you in that particular situation. Examples include, may I give myself the compassion may I need. May I learn to accept myself as I am. May I forgive myself. May I be strong and may I be patient. Oh, may I learn to accept myself as I am. I think that really hits the nail on the head. May I learn to accept myself as I am.
All right, I'm going to stop the share. Thank you guys. I really find, can you hear me? Okay. I find that, you know, when I was thinking about all of this and the balance and all the things that we do, that we need to be kind to ourselves and we need to accept the imperfections. So I'm going to send we'll see how this works out to breakout rooms. I'm going to send you guys to a separate room. I know it's already 5 to 6 and we'll just maybe for 5 minutes and then come back and discuss. And I'll send the notes to you on what to talk about, but what have you learned about yourself since starting remote? You know, what have you learned over the last few months, and what are your worries and fears and concerns for the summer, for next school year? I just thought it'd be nice to be able to discuss in a smaller group. Does that make sense? Everyone good? Okay, so let me into, okay. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. So what have you learned about yourself?
That I need to slow down and not try to take everything on all at one time. Break it down. And not be so hard on myself, that everybody does understand we're all going through this. It isn't just one of us or some of us, it's everybody. Everybody's got their own challenges and ways to make sure that work gets done versus the kids' work gets done versus just the house. The dishes will still be there. I said to Ben's been essential this entire time. And I think that's kind of part of it. The hard part too is that it's not both of us home. But I think with the essential piece of it, I think there's this piece of, it's kind of like maternity leave. And it's, it's the only adult by the end of the day. And sometimes I just need to walk away and say, okay, you got to take over for 5 minutes. So, and I think the fears with the summer are just, what's it going to look like? I did just find out I'm going to stay virtual for June, at least the month of June. So, and be like a sub. So if they have to call someone, then I'll go in. But most likely I'll just be at home doing catch videos and stuff like I've been doing. So that kind of relieved a little bit of fear, but
what
still
are
makes
your
you
kids going to do this summer?
Well, now that I know at least I'm going to be virtual through June, they'll be home and we'll do stuff, go on hikes and whatever. We'll come up with stuff. And then we'll see what July brings. We'd like to try and go to Florida and Cincinnati, but both our parents are still a little on edge as to whether or not. So we'll see how it goes. How are you doing?
Okay. I think what I've learned about myself is how much I need routine. And through routine, I've really built time for myself, which is something that had started, honestly, it started in September. Starting in September, I started exercising every morning, it would start out very, very small amount of exercise, and it's been building, but like I started doing that for myself every day. And it was like this short period of time that was mine every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my mom died, I added daily minion. So then my morning was exercise and minion, and there were 2 things for myself. And now I can't go to minion. So my morning is get up, exercise, shower and dress, and daven. Mm-hmm. And so basically the first 2 hours of the day before I even see anybody else in my family, I'm just totally focused on me. And it's good because starting at 8 o'clock, I don't focus on myself again until the next day, which is how life is. But like having carved out the time, I feel like it puts me in the space to be able to do whatever else I need to do the rest of the day.
That's awesome.
And once in a while, my husband will come in and talk to me during the time I'm exercising, and I'm just like,
I understand that.
leave me alone. This is my time. I can get up really early so I can have it. But I really feel like it's what's kept me sane through this whole time. I'm worried about the summer. Gone Israel may run, and if it does, then Golan may go. It'd probably only be like 5 weeks. But basically, the rabbi said, they'd find something for Golan to do, because he was supposed to be a schlepper. He was supposed to be like this in-between camper and counselor thing, and they're not going to let any other kids do it. So there wouldn't be any other kids his age. So I don't know that that'd be fun.
And that's kind of how we were with Maddie.
Yeah, I don't think sitting around the house is going to be fun either. At least you've got 2 of them and they can do stuff together.
Yes.
Yoni's going to be working all day. So
yeah,
I just don't know. I have a lot of fear around it. And hopefully, I think what we need to do is to build him a schedule.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Ben and I have been going back and forth too, because Ben's like, I don't want them sitting at home all day, like staring at each other or watching TV all day long. So
that's my worry. YouTube videos all day long.
Yep.
So I don't know. He and Yoni took a bike ride today after Yoni was done with work. That was nice. So if they can figure out some gardening and some biking and some sports, I guess the basketball coach at Hillel sent drills that they're supposed to do. So
Nice.
so hopefully when he starts doing that, although apparently our basketball hoop is not regulation. So he has somewhere else to do his basketball drills, but we'll figure that out. But like, seriously, like even if we can build in like, okay, this time of day he bikes to this place and does basketball drills for a half hour, like as long as we can figure out what it is, I think it'll be good. He's pretty independent. It's not that. It's just that if he has nothing to do, the computer will be the default.
Yeah. That's what we're worried about too with Maddie and the phone. So I get it.
All right. Well, this was a good chat. I think they're going to pull us back into the main room again. I'm sorry we didn't get more people, but I recorded it, so hopefully more people.
Yeah, I think the small group is nice too, though.
Yeah. You're going to be at the meeting on Wednesday? Talk about the salute?
Yes.
I'm really hoping we will come up with good ideas. That's actually probably, in terms of work, that's my biggest stress point at this point is.
I understand.
Hey. Hi, can you guys see me, hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I hope that was a nice way to talk to the one other person you were assigned with. I love how it randomly assigns people. And I know we're over time, but can we just take a couple minutes? Is that okay to share out some of the things that you guys talked about? Like, give me a couple examples of what you've learned about yourselves, if anyone wants to share that, and then also what you guys are worried about for what's ahead. Anyone? Bye, Diane. Okay. Anyone want to share?
I'll share.
Okay.
I was telling Molly Beth that I have discovered how important a routine is for me. And I start my day every morning with a little time to myself. I exercise, I shower, I pray, and then I'm ready to face my day. I'm ready to focus on my family and my work the whole rest of the day. But like starting out with that time for myself has really centered me. It's made sure I get dressed every day. I'm not, working in my pajamas. And I just have found that really crucial to maintaining some kind of balance right now.
Anyone else learn anything about themselves?
I learned that it's okay to stop. I never stop. Now I learned to stop, not to look at my watch anymore, and to take every moment and to enjoy, because this time, I never had this time for myself before.
Yeah, that's lovely. Can someone give me one or two fears? Like, what are you most worried? There's so many fears. There's so many uncertainties, but what are you guys worried about with what's ahead this summer, with fall? Because for me, I can't predict. I've heard everything from, schools aren't going to start. Schools will start full time. Schools will start, but there'll be staggered schedule. There'll be a certain number of kids, things will open. So I've heard it all. I also, which I should have shared in the beginning, I have a freshman in high school, and then I also have my son just graduated from Nicolay. And, there's so much uncertainty for these college kids too. Like, will we be starting campus in fall? What will that look like? But please share a couple that you guys brought up that I haven't just said that you're worried, concerned about.
I think I'm worried just with what my schedule is going to look like. I know for the next month I'm virtual, but after that, I don't know what that's going to look like, and the girls not
We've lost.
Molly Beth, we can't
hear you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I don't know if you hear us.
I'm about the same way with Molly Beth. Is like right now I'm virtual and doing what I can, but then again, what's it going to look like in a month? What's it going to look like, when she goes back to school, if they go back to school, if they don't go back to school.
Right. There's a lot of uncertainty.
In the summer.
Yeah, the summer's a big one. Is there any more you guys want to share before I sort of try and pull this all together, and I don't want to keep you guys on much longer. I feel like we could talk. I feel like we could just stay on and talk to each other and support each other. And that's like a really big takeaway from this for me, is we have to support each other. This is really uncertain. It's caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, this remote teaching, the coronavirus, the uncertainty, the change in our routines, the loss of doing the things we normally do. I mean, I'm an extrovert, so I need people and conversation and connection and all of that. And so it's not the same. There's a lot of losses and a lot of challenges with this. Please, number one, make sure you turn to each other. Number two, I will, when I send this out, or Sippy can, like, share my phone number. I mean, really, I'm happy. I know that there were a couple questions that came through on chat to me. I haven't been able to totally answer because I've been talking so much, but you know, I'm happy to continue to be a resource for you guys too. We have to take care of each other. Please be kind to yourselves. Please, please be kind, because we're just in this world, especially I feel like in this area of like trying to compete with each other and one-upping each other, and you know, who's doing this and the perfect schedule or this. You know what? We're all doing the best we can, and nothing's perfect. And please, please accept that. You know, this uncertainty can lead to anxiety and stress. You know, there's a couple videos that I shared on that. Please look into other resources if you need them. I need to be better even about mindfulness apps. I think that stuff's really important and helpful. Ask for help if you need it, and not just from each other, from me, but you know, therapists are doing teletherapy, and it's a really weird time in our world. We've never been in this situation before. Like, please ask for help. Don't, like, it's strong. It's so strong to ask for help. It's, you know, people think the opposite sometimes, but that's not the case. It's actually a sign of strength to be able to ask for help, in my opinion. You know, we don't know what's ahead for our schools, for our jobs, for summer, but try and enjoy, you know, the weather being nicer, I think is, you know, mentally, emotionally helpful. Vitamin D, just getting outside. Try and not get caught up in the what ifs. I know we have to prepare for everything and we don't know what's ahead, but try and sort of be very mindful and focus on what's in front of you and your moments with your family. We're going to get through this together. I mean, that's what's amazing about our community, the Jewish community. And, you know, there's a lot of other crappy stuff, sorry, going on in the world. Sippy and I talked about it right when we got on the call as well. And so, you know, all of that leads to fear, and which leads to anxiety. And please just remember in the end that, you know, to put your oxygen mask on first. Given what I see here, you guys are taking care of a million other people. Please take care of yourselves. Please, please take care of yourselves, because then you will be better to everybody else, as opposed to the opposite, which I think a lot of us do, which we take care of everyone, and we forget about ourselves. So take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and I'm glad we could do this. It was, I mean, I'm sorry if I talked too much, but there's just so much to share on this topic. So
Jeanette, thank you. On behalf of all of us, this was really helpful. It was a nice small group, but I also will share this out for other people who, you know, weren't able to make it tonight. Time is hard right now, as we know. But I think we all gained so much from this, and I appreciate everybody coming. There's a lunch and learn tomorrow at noon about free will, what Judaism says about free will, if anyone has time. And I guess that's about it.
Thank you. And when you guys, she'll share this as a Google slide. We're not going to put it on. There's a 2-minute video at the end that's humorous as well, I think. It's a teacher that, so please watch that. And I'll have Sippy share out I'm happy to share out my phone number, my email. Reach out anytime. I'm here to support you guys as well.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Sippy.
No problem. Carrie, I still owe you a conversation.
Yes, it's all right. We do have to talk.
Let me know when.
When is the next SEC thing?
Let me look. Soon, I think. Oh yeah, next week. Our seminar is on the 9th. I guess I should start planning that. Yeah.
Okay. It's not, all right, it's on the 9th. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon, okay? Let me know when you want to have a chat.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.